The following documentary deals with mature subject matter. Viewer discretion is advised.
The United States is at war, again, drawn into battle against Japan and Germany by the attack on Pearl Harbor.
Breakfast in bed before, but you won't have it there anymore.
Americans are not ready for war. Yet the countries of occupied Europe and Asia are looking to the troops of the United States to help secure their freedom. Now, a diverse and sometimes divided nation must build up forces large enough and strong enough to liberate millions. More than 3 million American men are drafted into the armed forces during 1942. Many are unfit for duty. The military improves their lives. Army dentists pull 15 million decaying teeth. Opticians issue 2 million pairs of glasses. 1 million recruits are taught to read and write. Those that can, write home regularly. Harold Clark to his mother.
Dear Blanche, well, I'm in the Army now and definitely behind the 8-ball. I don't like it, and it doesn't like me. So everything is lovely.
Larry Kane writes to his wife Grace in New York from his camp on the American West Coast.
Dearest Gracie, read that address and weep. I couldn't be much farther away from you and still be in the country. The prospects for seeing each other before a long time has elapsed is very slim. Please don't worry about me. All my love, Larry.
At home, the U.S. must overcome racial, social, and class divisions to turn the nation's industrial might towards building weapons of war. President Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
This production of ours in the United States must be raised far above present levels, even though it will mean the dislocation of the lives and occupations of millions of our own people.
The United States not only needs to arm and equip its own troops, it must support its allies, Britain and the Soviet Union, already staggering under the onslaught of Nazi Germany. If America is to succeed, it must mobilize the energy and resources of the nation towards one end, victory. First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt.
At the present time, it is of paramount importance that the women and girls of our country be given training so that they may do their share in the war emergency.
Women and black Americans are about to receive opportunities they have always been denied. Phyllis Johnson, factory worker.
This is my chance for more pay. Gosh, I get sick of sticking around home. Ma and Pa keep treating me like a baby. Now I'll be on my own, and I can send more money home to them, too.
Over the next 3 years, 16 million men will go through basic training. Keith Winston to his wife.
Today we were learning how to use the bayonet and hand grenade. God, can you picture me putting a bayonet through another man? But they tell us over and over again, if we don't, they'll do it to us.
An enthusiastic Lieutenant Gus Fallon to his bartender friend in New York.
Dear Eddie, I love being a paratrooper. I love to raid the enemy, capture an airport, blow up a railroad terminal. I hope to surround a whole German regiment someday with maybe 20 enlisted men loaded with Tommy guns. Your sky-jumping pal, Gus.
Despite the need for able bodies, the military excludes some parts of American society. Homosexuals are unwelcome, but gay men and lesbians join up anyway and often serve with distinction. The military is also reluctant to accept black soldiers. The diary of Secretary of War Henry Stimson.
The Army has adopted rigid requirements for literacy, mainly to keep down the number of colored troops.
The black Americans who do get into the military mostly serve as laborers and never leave the United States. Less than 5% see combat. A soldier writing to the Richmond Afro-American.
We are proud to serve, but we want to serve in a more important capacity. We can and would fight if trained to do so, but as yet we hardly know that a gun or a tank, combat plans, a hand grenade, machine gun look like. We are referred to on this post as that nigger squadron at the end of the field.
October 1942. America practices for its first assault on Hitler's empire. Preparations for Operation Torch, an Allied invasion of North Africa, reveal an army and navy disorganized and poorly trained. Trial runs for the invasion leave landing craft and soldiers scattered up and down the eastern seaboard of the United States, miles off target. Major General Ernie Harmon.
If they can't find an objective in peaceful Chesapeake Bay, how are they going to find an objective in darkness on a foreign shore and under conditions of war?
Ready or not, the largest overseas landing force yet assembled leaves for North Africa. For almost every American on board, officer and soldier alike, this will be the first time they have ever been shot at by an enemy.
Closed captioning of this program is brought to you in part by Manulife One, the all-in-one account that could save you thousands.
Save thousands during the Brick's greatest anniversary sale ever. This 6-piece contemporary bedroom, only $16.99. This Whirlpool 18-cubic-foot stainless steel fridge is only $8.29. Plus, you don't pay for 15 months during the Brick's greatest anniversary sale ever.
Hey, Bob. Yeah, have you disinfected the area? Good. Now make a 3-inch incision between the 4th and 5th abdominal muscles.
Shouldn't you be doing this?
It's really straightforward. Listen, I gotta go, Bob. I'll talk to you later.
Making important financial decisions on your own doesn't make much sense either. That's why Edward Jones prefers meeting clients face-to-face. Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Ranked highest in investor satisfaction with full-service brokerage firms by J.D. Power & Associates.
trusted it on a really important night. Brunette Expressions really keeps your hair healthy looking, so the color is gonna look great. You know, people see the difference. Your hair is kind of catching a little sparkle. It's this Chroma Shine formula. It made my colored hair more brilliant. I almost didn't believe it could happen. Then it did. I really do trust my colored hair to Pantene Expressions. And now look for new Midnight Expressions shampoo and conditioner.
Log on to historytelevision.ca today.
At eHarmony, we help create passionate relationships that have what it takes to stay passionate for a lifetime.
This was truly love at first sight.
Even though we've known each other for a little over a year and a half, I still get goosebumps.
I wanted to find someone that I would be happy with forever.
Fell in love with her instantly, actually.
Love based on true compatibility is a powerful, life-changing experience. That's why at eHarmony, we match you on 29 dimensions of compatibility.
It's about the heart. It's about what is inside of that person.
Somebody loves you as much as you love them.
He loves me for me.
When you find someone like that, you want to spend the rest of your life with them. That's incredible.
Experience the power of love based on true compatibility. It starts with your personality profile. Yours free when you log on to eharmony.ca.
I never, ever would have met him if it wasn't for eHarmony.
The rest is history.
eharmony.ca. Log on today.
Don't miss the Brick's greatest anniversary sale ever. Save $500, the lowest price ever on Serta's very best mattress set. And you get this ultra-luxurious 600 thread count queen-size linen set and matching down comforter free. It's the Brick's greatest anniversary sale ever.
The following documentary deals with mature subject matter. Viewer discretion is advised.
November the 8th, 1942. Led by the British and Americans, Allied troops land near Casablanca and in Algeria. The American landings are chaotic and disorganized. Many troops hit the beach after daybreak, hours late and in full view of the defending forces. Lieutenant Robert Lewin writes to his mother.
The day we landed was pretty exciting. My boat got lost. Finally, we hit the beach and lo and behold, everyone who had landed before us is standing around and smoking and laughing. There hadn't been any opposition on the beach. Then it came. Guns opened on us, screaming shell fragments careening around. We dive into holes, and I get covered in camel dung.
The Allies quickly established footholds in the major port cities of North Africa. But Nazi planes bomb Allied positions daily. U.S. Army nurse Eugenia Rutkowski.
We disembarked and were quartered in large tents in a bivouac area. Suddenly, all hell broke loose. Alert alarms were blasting, planes droning above, and anti-aircraft guns bombarding the sky. Talk about being scared. I sure was. A British voice guided me to a bunker. He offered me a chair, a glass of wine, and a view. I needed that drink of wine. I could not believe this introduction to war.
Tanks and men move eastward towards the mountains of Tunisia, where the German army is dug in with tanks and heavy artillery. The action is captured by Hollywood film producer Darryl Zanuck.
Life out here is very elemental. You cannot wash or shave as frequently as you'd like, but somehow it doesn't seem to matter. You live under tension. This is no rehearsal. You are playing for keeps. A modern battle is not at all what most people imagine it to be. There actually is no front line. The action is fluid. One of your own columns may lunge forward on one flank, while a few miles away the enemy may have a pocket of his own that is behind. You rarely see the enemy tanks and our own tanks at one time. They do not rush at each other like a pair of knights on horseback. It is a strategic cat-and-mouse game.
The Allied advance bogs down in the mountains of Tunisia. U.S. war correspondent Ernie Pyle for the Scripps Howard News Service.
Our army is a green army, and most of our troops are in battle for the first time against seasoned troops. We simply didn't have enough stuff to knock out the Germans instantly. The going will be tough and probably long before we have cleaned up Africa and are ready to move to bigger fronts.
Eric Golub to his wife in Brooklyn.
You were telling me about hearing an all-Beethoven program which included the Fifth Piano Concerto. That's my favorite. I don't know what I'd give to be able to hear it. You'd be surprised how starved one can become for things like that.
January 1943. President Roosevelt arrives in liberated Casablanca in North Africa for a meeting of top American and British officials. Roosevelt is the first American president since Abraham Lincoln to visit U.S. troops in the field. Although Britain and the United States are allies, the two countries have different strategies for conducting the war. FDR's advisors favor an early invasion of occupied France. Britain's Winston Churchill wants to knock out Hitler's Italian ally first. Churchill prevails. But it is at Casablanca that Roosevelt first defines America's war aims: the unconditional surrender of Germany, Italy, and Japan. He later tells Congress,
"We mean no harm to the common people of the Axis nations, but we do mean to impose punishment and retribution in full upon their guilty, barbaric leaders. In other words, on the uncompromising terms of unconditional surrender."
At home, Americans are faced with rationing and restrictions.
The most important news for Americans today was made on the home front. Eric Severide reporting.
Afternoon tomorrow, anybody in the 17 eastern states and the District of Columbia who uses his car for pleasure driving will be violating the law.
Rationing for gasoline is imposed to save rubber used for tires. The Meadow Gold Dairy goes back to using horse-drawn wagons for their daily home milk deliveries. 20 million people grow their own food. Every family is encouraged to plant a victory garden. $8 million mouths in the armed services have to be fed daily and the United States is shipping thousands of tons of food to Great Britain and to the Soviet Union. Men leaving for the military create a labor shortage on the farm. Women begin filling the gap. 1.5 million sign up for the Women's Land Army, leaving the cities for jobs on the farm. A Michigan woman quoted in the New York Times,
"My fiancé was killed in this war, and I feel perhaps that I, by helping to produce the food so vitally needed by our soldiers, can in part make up for the loss of at least one fighting man."
Leslie Tresham.
It was with a feeling of pride and uncertainty that I started my day as a farm helper. When the last ear of corn tumbled out of the wagon, I was so relieved. As I swung the empty wagon alongside the picker, the farmer shouted, "Have any trouble?" "Not a bit," I lied. It was easy. I get tired, but so does that boy in the foxhole.
Staring at the blank page before you, open up the dirty window. Release your inhibitions, feel the rain on your skin. No one else can feel it for you, only you can let it in. Today is where your book begins.
Let yourself shine. Discover the new attitude of Pantene.
Tomorrow, at the 4th hour, the battle has come to the city. Young Caesar Octavian to engage with the renegade Mark Antony. Eulogies will be delivered, promising dominion of all Rome. Salvation is at hand. All eligible citizens may attend.
Over 60 years ago, we began to work with Ferrari. What we've learned from our shared passion on the track, we've put on the road. Shell V-Power, Ferrari fuel for the road.
The Royal Canadian Mint presents Wheelchair Curling, a new collector coin and a historic first in the world, celebrating our Paralympic athletes' quest for gold. As the next Olympic and Paralympic Winter Games draw near, they'll need your encouragement more than ever. Without it, they might never make their dreams come true. Collect our new wheelchair curling coin from your change. Also available at Petro Canada or visit an RBC branch today. Collect it and cheer on our Canadian athletes.
Our new detergent comes with an added touch of fabric softener. It's kind of like your husband after he shaves. It doesn't take much, but it feels nice. New Gain Touch of Softness detergent makes clothes feel as good as they smell.
Log on to historytelevision.ca today. The following documentary deals with mature subject matter. Viewer discretion is advised.
American bomber crews have been in England since mid-1942. The first targets are railroad yards and light industrial plants in France. The small size of the US bombing force means the first raids are ineffective but provide valuable lessons. Many crews keep diaries. James Verinis, co-pilot.
Hardly got to bed when they got us up. We're finally off on our first mission.
Bill Winchell, waist gunner.
91st Bomb Group starts her trip along the Glory Road. During the run over the target, everyone was keyed up, nervous, and excited. Naturally, our first taste of combat.
Much damage to target, but not completely destroyed. Home to base, tired but mighty happy. All ships returned.
The ship, the squadron, and the group came through with no casualties.
After their very next mission, the men have a change of attitude. Seen here, James Verinis, a co-pilot.
Holes were appearing in the plane all around us, and one directly beneath me. Altitude good for effective bombing, but well near suicide for us.
Bill Winchell.
It seemed as if every flak gun in Germany was there to meet us. Our ship came out of it with 40 holes, and we were fortunate compared to some. When it was all over, we were convinced that war can be hell.
In the winter of 1942, 3 out of every 4 crew members of the U.S. 8th Air Force are seriously injured, captured, or killed. In psychiatric sessions using sodium pentothal, the so-called truth serum, air crews relive their trauma.
Flak, flak, flak. Fighters, fighters. I was scared, Doc. I was yellow, Doc. All you do is sit and wait. There's nothing to do, Doc. You just sit and wait.
There's a fire in the bomb bay. Fire, fire. Get me out of here. Come back, you rats. My parachute is stuck. They all ran away. I'm alone. I'll blow up with a ship. There won't be a piece left. Not one little piece.
Did you ever see a fellow without a head, Doc? A friend of yours without a head? He was my best buddy. I loved him. I ate with him, and I slept with him, and we played cards together, and we went out with girls together. Those goddamn Nazi bastards. I gotta go back and get those Nazi bastards. I want to kill them one by one.
Love and lust are great distractions from the dangers of war. Martin Bischoff to his parents in Colorado.
The other night, I had to help censor the enlisted men's mail. Boy, what those guys don't write. One of the fellows wrote a girl in London how much he cared for her, and the next letter I picked up was to the same fellow's wife. Another fellow wrote to 3 different girls telling them how much he loves them, etc. I really got a kick out of it.
Not everyone takes such a light-hearted view. Chaplain Frith writes to his church superiors,
"There is absolutely no end to the vulgar business of soldiers making love, or should I say lust, in public places. The soldiers confessed the reason they had thrown away all propriety was that they were away from home, where no one knew them."
Jay Kirby is in the Wrens.
Joan went out with a Yank. They bore me. All they talk about is themselves, with just enough breaks now and then to say, "Gee, I like your legs," or "How far is your camp from here, honey?" Makes you sick.
But many soldiers, faced with the possibility of death, want to make a commitment to a future. Romance turns serious, and more than 70,000 GIs take British war brides. Wives left at home in the United States worry about losing their men to either German guns or to British beauties. Frances Field tells her husband in a letter,
"The question in every wife's heart, will he want to come back to me? He would have gone on loving me if he had stayed at home. Wouldn't have known anything different. But now, who knows?"
The war is transforming American lives and expectations. 1 out of every 5 Americans moves to a new state, many seeking employment in the defense industry. Frances Field.
Housing is a problem, and there is talk of commandeering spare rooms in private homes for war workers. Domestic help is suddenly non-existent, and certain folks are learning how to wash their own dishes.
John Mullin writes to his son Jack, stationed in England.
San Francisco is overrun by Okies, Arkies, Codyes, etc., increased the population by 100,000. Market Street is overcrowded with women in slacks and Negroes. The former Japanese section is crowded with them.
Japanese Americans who used to live along the west coast of the United States have now spent more than a year in internment camps. Fumi Kagawa writes from Heart Mountain, Wyoming, to her friends in Mountain View, California.
Our first impression of this camp was one of despair. There is a lot of loose dirt and dust. The water is not very good. In order to keep ourselves warm and comfortable, we had to stay in bed all day.
More than 100,000 Japanese Americans spend the entire war in the internment camps. Velma Berryman, a white nurse working at Heart Mountain, views the Japanese nurses around her with suspicion. She writes to her future husband,
"It's cold tonight and the wind is howling around the end of the wards. One of the nurses just wrote my name in Japanese. Perhaps I should show it to the FBI. How do I know she isn't writing something different? Honey, good night. Love, Velma."
Angered at the slur of being labeled disloyal, 12,000 young men volunteer for the all-Japanese American 442nd Infantry Regiment. Some join straight from the internment camps. One volunteer writes,
"I am of Japanese ancestry, but by all rights of birth an American. But some people have referred to me as a Jap. Why can Americans consider us true Americans like they are? Why should they have such terrible race prejudice? In the First World War, Americans of German ancestry fought against Germany. The 442nd would rather fight the Japs than the Germans to prove our loyalty."
The 442nd fights in Italy. The regiment earns more than 18,000 individual medals, the most decorated unit in U.S. military history.
Start living life instead of sweating it. Introducing new Secret Clinical Strength. Get triple action technology to keep you feeling fresh and confident. Secret, strong, like a woman.
On Thursday, August 9th, Dairy Queen's most magical treat will become even more magical because all proceeds from every blizzard you buy help children in your Children's Miracle Network hospital.
The Royal Canadian Mint presents Wheelchair Curling, a new collector coin and a historic first in the world, celebrating our Paralympic athletes' quest for gold. As the next Olympic and Paralympic Winter Games draw near, they'll need your encouragement more than ever. Without it, they might never make their dreams come true. Collect our new wheelchair curling coin from your change. Also available at Petro Canada or visit an RBC branch today. Collect it and cheer on our Canadian athletes.
Over 60 years ago, we began to work with Ferrari. What we've learned from our shared passion on the track, we've put on the road. Shell V-Power, Ferrari fuel for the road.
Tomatoes, you touch. Bread, you squeeze. Watermelons, you tap. Herbs, you smell. Chicken, you read. Maple Leaf Prime Chicken's new Fresh Sure packaging, a revolutionary new pack design that seals in the freshness for a better, fresher tasting chicken. There's a reason we call it Prime.
So tell us, what was the first sign?
I walked into the kitchen
and I could see everything. The evidence was right on the floor.
Can you point to the defendant?
Right there.
Objection.
Put your broom away for life. Get the 5 signs of clean with Swiffer Sweeper. Unlike a broom, which can leave dirt behind, Swiffer dry cloths trap and lock dirt away for a clean you can see.
Justice is served.
Visible clean. One of the 5 signs Swiffer gives cleaning a whole new meaning.
The following documentary deals with mature subject matter. Viewer discretion is advised.
The American workforce is changing. A shipyard supervisor.
See those girls running the 40-ton overhead cranes? They are the best workers I have ever had, men or women.
By 1943, nearly 2 million women are working in defense plants around the country. Helen Black.
It's no picnic, but someone has to do the work. The dust from the aluminum gets in your skin, and unless you wash carefully, it stays in.
Many work 2 jobs, homemaker and factory worker.
I'm doing a heavy job at home and in the factory. When I'm not at the plant, I do the cleaning and cooking and marketing, and all our washing. I don't feel so good anymore.
By law, defense plants must offer jobs regardless of race. Black American Leotha Hackshaw breaks the color barrier when she takes a job in an all-white factory.
The company itself, I soon learned, had no Negroes in its employ. Shortly after I arrived, a Negro matron was installed, followed by other Negro girls in the assembly line. If anyone expected a riot between the white girls and the incoming Negro girls, they must have been disappointed. The company workers were very friendly to me.
But wildcat hate strikes are not uncommon, as white workers feel threatened by the influx of black workers into previously all-white jobs.
Governor Kelly of Michigan has ordered martial law in Detroit, where race riots have killed 11 men and injured more than 500 since last midnight. Martial law will take effect at 10 p.m. Eastern Wartime.
The racial tension in the country is reflected in the military. The U.S. Army Air Forces train 1,000 black aviators at the Tuskegee Institute in Alabama. The men are segregated into an all-black unit. Colonel Noel Parrish, training commander of the 99th Fighter Squadron, tells them at graduation,
"You are fighting men now. You have made the team. Your future as fighting men will depend on how determined you are not to give satisfaction to those who would like to see you fail."
At first shunned by white pilots, the Tuskegee Airmen are eventually assigned to escort bombers on raids over Sicily, Italy, and Germany. As fighter escorts, they never lose a single bomber to enemy fire. But most African Americans are still relegated to segregated work details. Private Bert Barbero writes from Camp Berkeley in Texas.
It was to my amazement to observe a sign in the latrine, actually segregating a section of the latrine for Negro soldiers, the other being used by the German prisoners and the white soldiers. Seeing this was honestly disheartening. It made me feel here the tyrant is actually placed over the liberator.
A black officer writes,
"The men of my race naturally turn to me, a commissioned officer, to explain the reasons and policies of the government. What am I to say? Am I to admit that we are fighting for ideals for another country or people when America has yet to establish these ideals at home?"
May 1943.
The North African campaign is finished, and the Allies have won a great victory. For the first time in 3½ years of war, the Axis powers are wholly on the defensive, pushed back in the European continent, and nervously wondering where the next Allied blow will fall.
The human cost of victory. Allied casualties, 70,000. German and Italian, 75,000. 250,000 German and Italian soldiers are taken prisoner. Reporter Ernie Pyle.
No longer do I have any doubts that we shall win.
Despite our strikes and bickering and confusion back home, America is producing, and no one can deny that. Apparently, it takes a country like America about 2 years to become wholly at war. We've changed our character and become a war nation.
For the first time, American women play a prominent role in uniform. 350,000 women serve in all branches of the military. Military commanders find women are more productive in their jobs and less likely to be disciplinary problems than men. Some women worry they will lose their newly found freedoms and opportunities in uniform and out when their husbands, sons, and brothers return after the war. Journalist Susan B. Anthony II.
After this war, the way it was after the last war, it will be the same old story of no job, no dough, no hope. Why should I leave home today, take training for a job, when they'll just kick me out tomorrow when the war is over?
With most of America's male pilots away serving in Europe or the Pacific, the Women Air Force Service Pilots is formed. It trains women in delivering military aircraft, ferrying troops, and test flying new planes. Alberta Paskvan is one of the first WASPs and shoots color home movies for her sister Chick.
Hi. Last night, we all hung around the rec hall until 8:30. All the girls dancing together, and others just making as much noise as possible. It is the grandest fun. Still say I'd rather have a lot of men around, but the novelty of the thing is amazing. I feel very much like a lost soul. No letters, no love, no liquor.
Caro Bailey writes home.
Dear Mommy, they seem to have every minute of the day from 6 to 10 all planned out. Ground school, etc. The major said if we had a minute to ourselves, he had slipped up on something. What with all this air, wind, and sun, and physical training, and drilling, and sleep, can't wait to get healthy looking like the rest. Most of the girls are practically beautiful. Went to a watermelon party that the USO had. By the time Ellie, Sammy, and Caroline and I had got through the first piece, the party had turned into a watermelon splash. Had my shoes off and my whole face in the melon.
Over 1,000 women earn their pilot's wings. Alberta Paskvan.
Do I ever rave about flying? That it is so wonderful? Actually, it flew me around more than I flew it, but I must say that even that is enjoyable.
Marion Stegman.
Dearest Mother, the gods must envy me. This is just too, to be true. Oh God, how I love it. Honestly, Mother, you haven't lived until you get way up there, all alone. Just you and that big, beautiful plane humming under your control. I just sit there and sing at the top of my lungs while I'm climbing up to 4,000 feet.
Towing targets fired at with live ammunition and test flying planes is dangerous. 38 WASPs die in the line of duty. July 1943, Operation Husky. The last stepping stone to the European continent. 160,000 Allied troops leave North Africa and head for the shores of Sicily. Lieutenant Randall Harris writes to his Air Force buddy, Benjamin Thompson.
Dear Benji, I was in the first wave to hit the beach. My CO was killed, and at the same time, I got hit. There was no pain to it. I kept thinking that if I was hit very bad, I would feel my shoes fill up with blood, but felt no signs, so I kept going. I looked and was surprised to find a big gob of guts sticking out about 2 inches above my Peter. So I sprinkled sulfa drugs on it, took the internal pills, and put on a bandage.
It takes 38 days to sweep through Sicily. 60,000 German troops are pushed back to the Italian peninsula at a cost of 31,000 Allied casualties. With the troops ready to invade Italy, the once gung-ho paratrooper Gus Fallon is still writing to his bartender friend.
Well, old-timer, we've only had a month of it in Sicily, but I had my belly full. I don't want to be a hero. Don't want any medals. Just want this darn war to end so we can all go home and live a peaceful life. Your paratrooper buddy, Gus.
Tomorrow, let the voices of Roosevelt, Truman, and Eisenhower take you through the American invasion of Normandy and the devastating Battle of the Bulge. Tomorrow on History Television.
Fight the look of crow's feet on your arms and laugh lines on your legs. New Olay Age Transform Body Cream Serum and Skin Tone Equalizer with an antioxidant complex. 2 ways to fight the look of body skin aging. New from Olay.
Want to kick your viewing habits into high gear? Then tune into Showcase Action for all the excitement you can handle. With hot new action, classic action, explosive action, and steamy action. All available to you uncut 24/7. Showcase Action. Don't just sit there. Get some.
Seeking an answer to life's muscle and joint pain? No Odor Rub A535 for deep, penetrating relief that lasts and lasts. Get back to life. No Odor Rub A535.
I was skeptical about anything that was on an internet.
You know, with eHarmony, they bring the matches to you.
At eHarmony, we match you based on who you are at the very deepest levels.
We're a real couple. We have our off days. For the first time, I've found someone that I'm able to communicate with.
You are finding another level that none of the other sites can match.
It all starts with your personality profile. Yours free when you visit eharmony.ca. Log on today.
These may look like just any pair of glasses, but these aren't just any lenses. They're Pearl-Thin Easy View lenses, a new kind of progressive lens from Pearl Vision. Advanced digital technology makes these lenses more comfortable. They widen your field of vision and allow you to transition seamlessly from distance to intermediate to reading, so you can focus more naturally. New Pearl-Thin Easy View lenses are just another way Pearl Vision can help you see more.
The Royal Canadian Mint presents Wheelchair Curling, a new collector coin and a historic first in the world, celebrating our Paralympic athletes' quest for gold. As the next Olympic and Paralympic Winter Games draw near, they'll need your encouragement more than ever. Without it, they might never make their dreams come true. Collect our new wheelchair curling coin from your change. Also available at Petro Canada or visit an RBC branch today. Collect it and cheer on our Canadian athletes.
Start living life instead of sweating it. Introducing new Secret Clinical Strength. Get triple action technology to keep you feeling fresh and confident. Secret, strong, like a woman.
The Big Apple. Cultural. Stylish. Dynamic. Deadly.
We got a cereal.
CSI New York. Coming up next on History Television. The following documentary deals with mature subject matter. Viewer discretion is advised.
In the summer of 1943, Jan Karski, a courier from the Polish government in exile, arrives in Washington, D.C. He brings an eyewitness account of what is happening to Jews in German-occupied Poland. Inside the Warsaw Ghetto, a German propaganda unit films in color. Jan Karski.
It was indescribable. Misery, death, disintegration, poverty, hunger, dirt. I saw two boys, Hitler Youth, playing with their guns, shooting, firing mindlessly. It was awful.
Karski gives his report to Supreme Court Justice Felix Frankfurter. Frankfurter, the son of Austrian Jews, tells him,
Mr. Karski, a man like me talking to a man like you must be totally frank. So I must say, I am unable to believe you.
Karski tells President Roosevelt,
More than 1,800,000 Jews have been murdered in my country. If there is no effort at Allied intervention, whether through reprisals or other action, within a year and a half of the time I left the homeland, the Jewish people of Poland will cease to exist.
By the end of the war, 90% of Poland's Jews, more than 3 million people, have been killed. July 1943. The Allies knowingly wage war on Germany's civilian population. British bombers hit military and civilian targets in Hamburg with incendiary bombs. They create a firestorm. Chet Huntley reports for CBS Radio.
Experts of the United States Army Air Forces had some things to say about the bombing of Hamburg today. They called it the first example of the complete use of air power and the pattern of the devastation to be extended to other German cities. It was not a terror operation, as has been suggested in some quarters. The Germans were rebuilding very quickly after the attacks. To prevent that at Hamburg, the homes of the workers, the stores, the buildings, even the very streets had to be demolished.
The RAF reports that 40,000 people died from the bombing. In Eastern Europe, the peasants of Yugoslavia and Albania are suffering under fascist occupation. Armed resistance groups operate in the mountains. U.S. Colonel Lynn Farish runs guns and supplies to the Partisans, one of the main resistance groups inside Yugoslavia. The Partisans help Allied flyers shot down on bombing raids escape from the Germans. Farish works for the OSS, America's first overseas intelligence agency. He is America's link to the leader of the Partisans, Yugoslavian communist Josip Broz Tito. Farish reports,
the partisan movement is of far greater military and political importance than is commonly realized in the outside world. The average partisan is very sympathetic to the USA and is steadfast in his belief that we will come to their aid.
The resistance groups in Yugoslavia create a political dilemma for the Allies. Tito's partisans and another Allied-supported resistance group, the Chetniks, often fight with each other. Colonel Farish reports the Chetniks sometimes collaborate with the Germans in attacks on the partisans.
The deep-rooted causes of the strife are contained in racial, religious, and political disputation. Is this the shape of things to come? Are we sacrificing to end this war only to have dozens of little wars spring up?
February 1944. The Allies set out to cripple Germany's aircraft industry and the Luftwaffe before the planned invasion of Western Europe. In 1 week, British and American bomber crews fly more than 6,000 missions. They drop 18,000 tons of bombs on Germany. The Luftwaffe loses more than a third of its planes. The Allies now have air superiority in Europe. B-17 pilot Louis LaHood.
The 8th Air Force is certainly going all out for the Luftwaffe. Guess they want to knock out the fighters before the invasion starts. I wish the darned invasion will start. This is getting darned old. I want to go home.
Britain has become an island fortress. 2 million Allied troops are ready and waiting. Larry Kane.
The first thing we got when we got off the boat was a speech of welcome which told us briefly and unequivocally why we're here. We're here to invade the continent.
All of the turmoil, struggle, and sacrifice of the past 2 years has brought the United States to the brink of a decisive moment in history. At first reluctant to fight, America is now poised to join the final assault on Hitler's fascist empire.
This nation, in the past 2 years, has become an active partner in the world's greatest war against human slavery. In this war, we have been compelled to learn how interdependent upon each other are all groups and sections of the whole population of America. There is only one front. When we speak of our total effort, we speak of the factory and the field and the mine, as well as the battlefield. We speak of the soldier and the civilian, the citizen and his government. Each and every one of us has a solemn obligation under God to serve this nation in its most critical hour, to keep this nation great, to make this nation greater in a better world.
June 1944. On the southern English coast, troops begin loading into landing craft for a 6-hour journey across the English Channel, bound for the coast of France. Red Cross worker Gisela Simon to her family.
Dear folks, we are anxiously awaiting the invasion, just as you are. We have worked in close contact with the combat forces who will make the first assault when it comes off. Pray for them. They will need it. I shiver when I think of the boys who won't come back.
Lieutenant Tracy Sugarman scribbles his wife June a note before boarding.
Hope this gets to you. It'll be the last word from me for a long time. Don't worry. I'm absolutely squared away for anything that may come my way. For this wonderful peace of mind, I have you to thank, Junie. Bye for a little, Angel. Remember, I love you with all my heart.
The following program contains mature subject matter. Viewer discretion is advised.
Crab bake. And from the Pacific, maple glazed salmon and shrimp. For a short time at Red Lobster. Come see what's fresh today.
The following program contains scenes of violence, coarse language, and mature subject matter. Viewer discretion is advised.
Frank and Julia Glut have been married 2 years. Donnie was born in February 1944. Frank is in the Air Corps, a bomber pilot trained in Texas.
August 4. I guess today will be our final goodbye. I walked to Frank's barracks with him and tried awfully hard not to cry. I behaved quite well until I got back to the hotel, and then I just sobbed.
Said goodbye to Julia and Donnie for the 3rd time. This was it. Sure we'll miss her and the little guy.
Frank goes to England, Julia goes home to Chicago, connected to her husband now through letters and their son. By the time the Allied armies reach the French border, the Italian campaign has been going on for more than a year. A year of slow advances, bloody battles, and destruction. From air bases all over southern Italy and nearby islands, American pilots fly daily missions to destroy enemy troops and supply lines. Ralph Lewis to his parents.
These men know they must continue to fly and fight and even die. Not for any reason an armchair patriot back home might give, but because the quicker they knock out the enemy, the sooner we can all go home. Newspaper accounts don't tell about the shattered nerves of those who survived and those who didn't make it back at all. They don't show the dejected faces of the ground crew members whose planes don't return, or the way they keep scanning the sky hoping that somehow, some way their ship will struggle home.
General Eisenhower worries that Americans will assume that the end of the war is near and become complacent. He writes to his wife, Mamie, "Every victory is sweet, but the end of the war will come only with the complete destruction of the Hun forces. There is still a lot of suffering to go through. God, how I hate the Germans." When the German army reaches the Siegfried Line, it turns and fights. It isn't about conquest anymore, it's about survival. Fighter pilot Quentin Antonsen writing home from England.
I can hear heavy bombers going over. That means some part of Germany is going to catch hell tonight. But it also means some of those boys up above are going to die soon. You gotta see it and live it to realize just what is happening in the flak-filled skies over Germany.
On October the 21st, American troops capture Aachen, the first German city to fall. The victory is mostly symbolic. Aachen has little military value, but the losses are real. 5,000 American and 5,000 German casualties. Ernie Pyle's last column before going home.
It will seem odd when the shooting stops and everything suddenly changes again. It will be odd to drive down an unknown road without that little knot of fear in your stomach. For some of us, the war has already gone on too long. Our feelings have been wrung and drained. They cringe from the effort of coming alive again. War has become a flat, black depression without highlights, a revulsion of the mind, and an exhaustion of the spirit.
Paris. A terrible winter for the Parisians becomes the least of their worries on December the 17th. Jackie Greer.
This afternoon, we received the awful news that the Germans counterattacked and that they would be in Paris by Christmas. That last part I don't believe. The first part makes me feel sick.
CBS Radio 4 days later.
The German offensive has not yet been halted. Two powerful drives are rolling ahead tonight, one through Belgium to within 18 miles of the fortress of Liège. The other has swept 3/4 of the distance across Luxembourg.
Red Cross Club Director Gisela Simon writes home from Belgium during the Battle of the Bulge.
For the past 3 days, we've been visited nightly by Jerry, strafed and bombed, always with some casualties, but your little Gizzy's still here dodging them. Damn, it's a nice clear night out. That ain't good.
American losses are so high in the Battle of the Bulge that replacements are needed quickly. Black soldiers are finally accepted as frontline fighting troops. Many of the wounded, black and white, are treated by the 50th General Hospital, now moved forward to an old French cavalry post. Paratrooper Ozzy Shock.
I might start by telling you I was wounded. Today is the first time I've shaved in 23 days. And the first time I've had my trousers off. I've had them down, but never off. We've had much trouble with our machine guns. The bolt would freeze. We remedied that by urinating on them just before we fired them. This winter war is hell, and then some.
The Battle of the Bulge lasts 6 weeks. 19,000 Americans are killed, the greatest American loss of the war. Martha Gellhorn in Belgium.
There were many dead and many wounded, but the bulge was ironed out. This was not done fast or easily, and it was not done by those anonymous things, armies, divisions, regiments. It was done by men, one by one. Your men.
This weekend at the Brick, for 36 hours only, it's the Brick's 36-hour anniversary sale. Save 36% on all leather sofas. Save 36% on all accessories. Save up to 36% in every department. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Hey, it's Dad, again. Around here, money just flies out of my wallet, and now you're away at school. Hey, so here's the deal. My Rogers home phone, your Rogers home phone, no long distance charges. Now we can use it to call any Rogers home or wireless phone right across Canada, free. Save when you switch, save when your friends switch. That sweet deal just got sweeter. It's your brother.
Say hello to Dad.
You need money for laundry. Does laundry have a name?
Say hello to Rogers Home Phone and save $120 over 12 months.
My souvenir from this trip? Back pain. Went from bad to worse. But now I wear this Thermacare heat wrap for 8 hours of heat and up to 16 more hours of relief. 16 hours! I could use these every day. Thermacare. Have heat, will travel.
Coming to DVD and Blu-ray. 4 guys stuck in a rut are about to become the men
we need to get away.
Like a road trip? They always wanted to be.
Every now and then you gotta slap the bull.
Wild Hogs. Own it on DVD and Blu-ray high def Tuesday, August 14th.
When refining the Saturn Vue, we made the handling more European, finished every detail with more style, and all this without compromising safety or fuel efficiency. You could say we redefined refinement from every angle. Introducing the completely redesigned 2008 Saturn Vue, the latest breakthrough from Saturn.
What can age you most isn't what you think. More than just wrinkles, it can be discolorations, dullness, and brown spots. Retaliate. with new Olay Definity Deep Penetrating Foam. It infuses multiple surface layers to reduce the look of discolorations, brown spots, and wrinkles in just 8 weeks. For skin so luminous, it's highly defined. New Definity Foam by Olay. Definitely love the skin you're in.
That ought to do it.
Assuming you've done enough for retirement doesn't make much sense either. Invest with Edward Jones to make sure you're on the right track. Because many Canadians are unprepared for retirement and may not know it. Don't be one of them. Edward Jones, making sense of investing.
Don't miss the Brick's greatest anniversary sale ever. Save $500, the lowest price ever on Serta's very best mattress set. And you get this ultra-luxurious 600 thread count queen-size linen set and matching down comforter free. It's the Brick's greatest anniversary sale ever.
The following program contains scenes of violence, coarse language, and mature subject matter. Viewer discretion is advised.
Thousands of German POWs are old men. Thousands more are children. Hitler Youth, grown fit and fanatical, waiting for their moment. 19-year-old GI Bill Sleichter.
Yesterday we had 10 kids in uniform. Couldn't have been over 12 to 14 years old. Doesn't seem that kids can do much harm, but put them behind a rifle or a machine gun, and they're sure to knock off one or two before they get hit.
Berlin has again been the first to report the beginning of a new Russian offensive operation. This one, say the Germans, has been uncorked along a 40-mile front southwest of Budapest.
Home movies taken by a German soldier show the Wehrmacht desperately trying to stop the relentless Soviet attack from the east, led by troops determined to avenge earlier German brutality. A brutality their American and British allies discover as they advance from the west. Mass graves are revealed of partisans in France and American POWs in Belgium. At Nordhausen, GIs discover the dead and dying victims of slave labor camps. At Luft Stalag 3, liberated American POWs burn their prison. Private Murray Osborne writing to the GI newspaper Yank.
The order that United States soldiers are to salute Nazi officer prisoners has left me bewildered. Can I forget that he's my mortal enemy? Can I forget that his uniform symbolizes all that is filthy and treacherous?
Americans are told they're in the best equipped army in the world. But American combat boots get wet and stay wet, which can cause severe disability. From medicine in action, trench foot.
Trench foot ranks high in military importance. When there was considerable combat activity on the Fifth Army front in the winter of 1944, the ratio of trench foot to battle casualties was 1 to 3.5.
Because trench foot can be avoided by regularly massaging the feet, some commanding officers make catching it a court-martial offense, like a self-inflicted injury, ignoring the hazards of massaging your feet in a frontline foxhole. By January 1945, Eisenhower needs 82,000 new troops. He gets boys just out of school, who are often the first to be killed or captured. Training is an even bigger problem than equipment. From the Soldier's Handbook, issued to every new GI.
The soldier who is careless in his appearance is probably careless in everything else. Dandruff, dust, or cigarette ashes give a bad impression. Keep a whisk broom for brushing your uniform. The approach of tanks may be suspected by the noise of their motors or by unusual columns of dust. If you get a chance to shoot at a tank, aim at the vision slots. One of your principal jobs in the field is marching. A small pebble carried in the mouth keeps it moist and reduces thirst.
With so many replacements, American veterans suddenly find themselves fighting alongside strangers. Too many buddies gone home, gone to recover, gone forever. But the buddy is still one of the best things about soldiering.
Sir, your son was a very personal friend of mine. Although he was a Mississippi State man and I am Ole Miss, we became close friends and stayed together all the way through. His men thought him a great leader and were crazy about him. From the type of man he was, he had to come from a wonderful family. Respectfully, Billy Roberts.
Thousands of wounded soldiers survived because of penicillin, first available in 1941. But penicillin isn't the only reason. Al Schock tells his family about the day he was hit.
Our company medic was so kind and brave about it all that I don't think I'll ever forget him. He risked his life to get me out. We were in no man's land. He dressed my wounds, gave me water, and talked to me like a mother.
Soon after Private Clarence Weaver steps on a landmine, he's being treated in a battalion aid station. 2 hours after that, he has surgery. After transport on a hospital ship, Weaver gets rehabilitation in Iran, then more surgery and convalescence back home. With different stops, it's a journey taken by thousands of wounded GIs. B-17 pilot Kenneth Book.
I have seen one hell of a bunch of sadly maimed fellows. Fellows with legs gone, lost arms, deaf, blind, mental crack-ups. These are the boys who have paid the top price in this damned war. These are the boys that deserve the most, and if everything runs true to form, will get the least. These are the guys who have seen the worst of the war, and I hope to God we'll remember enough to keep us out of another one for the next few generations.
Clarence Weaver finally goes home, blind, with an artificial leg, but alive.
Tomorrow, at the 4th hour, the battle has come to the city. Young Caesar Octavian to engage with the renegade Mark Antony. Eulogies will be delivered, promising dominion of all Rome. Salvation is at hand. All eligible citizens may attend.
As you get ready for another summer of great outdoor barbecues, come in and talk to the friendly people at Home Hardware. They'll show you why Broil King grills are legendary for their quality and cooking performance. Like this powerful Sovereign 90S available only at Home Hardware. Choose from a wide selection of Broil King grills at your Home Hardware and Home Hardware Building Center.
You're not all alone. Help is close to home.
Seeking an answer to life's muscle and joint pain? No Odor Rub A535 for deep, penetrating relief that lasts and lasts. Get back to life. No Odor Rub A535.
Who's counting on your brakes today? Come to Midas, where lifetime guaranteed brake pads or shoes are just $49 per axle. Installation extra. Be safe.
Trust the Midas touch.
You buy a house, turn it into a home, build so many wonderful memories. But now what?
Wouldn't it be nice?
If you're 60 or older,
A CHIP home income plan can help you turn up to 40% of the value in your home into tax-free cash without having to sell and move. There are no payments required, and you maintain control and ownership of your home. Call now for your free Wouldn't It Be Nice guide and find out if a CHIP home income plan is right for you. Wouldn't it be nice to help your children buy their first home, pay off your debts, or travel more often? Call CHIP now to unlock up to 40% of the value in your home and never make a payment until you choose to move or sell.
For your free guide, call 1-866-360-CHIP. That's 1-866-360-2447 or visit us at chip.ca.
It's time to call the CHIP home income plan and enjoy life on your terms.
The road has a language all its own. Are your tires smart enough to translate? For drivers who want to get the most out of their cars, it's Bridgestone or nothing.
The following program contains scenes of violence, coarse language, and mature subject matter. Viewer discretion is advised.
More than 8,000 military chaplains served during the war. Men like Rabbi David Max Eichhorn, who often drives around the front in his Jeep with a Star of David and a box of matzos.
The Jewish men come to thank God that the enemy does not stand on our soil and that we stand on his. To pray that next year each will sit with his own family and will eat real gefilte fish and knedlach, and will hear a childish voice intone, Ma nishtana halayla hazeh, and will celebrate the deliverance of Israel from Pharaoh, Haman, Antiochus, and Hitler.
Frank Lute left his wife Julia and son Donnie to join more than 2 million U.S. airmen in Britain.
Showed the fellas Julia's and Donnie's pictures. They agree that Julia's beautiful and Donnie's very cute. He takes after his mother, I guess.
I'm so tickled. Donnie said mama for the first time. He said it twice. It won't be long before he'll be talking. I had the blues. I felt so lonesome for Frank.
By December 21st, Frank has flown 30 missions. Just 5 more and he gets to go home. From his journal that day.
Got 9 letters from Julia. Finally got promoted to first lieutenant. Not alerted for tomorrow.
March 3rd. The Secretary of War desires me to express his deep regret that your husband, First Lieutenant Glut Frank C., was killed in action. Stop. Report of his death was received from German government through International Red Cross. Stop. Confirming letter follows. Stop.
In the wreckage of Frank Glut's plane, searchers find a pair of baby shoes. Sometimes all it takes to lift the morale of fighting men is a girl and a couple of donuts. Often close to the front, the American Red Cross sends out donut trucks with female volunteers. Maida Leonard Riggs writes home to Massachusetts.
If I tell you I helped cook 22,400 donuts last week, you can figure out how many of those guys we see at 2 donuts per man. Dirty men, tired men, scared men, and lately, battle-fatigued men who don't talk but just take their donuts and walk away.
Florence Holtman.
3 of us run a fine donut business here. The only realization a war goes on is when the planes have had a rough time, and then in a day or 2 you miss a bright-eyed boy, and nothing is ever said about it.
The USO and its British equivalent ENSA entertain the troops. Thousands of artistes perform on everything from huge stages to flatbed trucks. In Nuremberg, in the stadium where a decade before Hitler held massive Nazi rallies, soldiers watched the Yankee Doodlers. A sergeant writing home.
Ma, I seen my first classical show yesterday. And boy, that sure was a good change from Mersey Doubts and Shoo Shoo Baby.
Edward R. Murrow, reporting from Europe.
It is impossible to keep up with this war. Overhead, the C-47s carrying supplies go in right down on the deck. The tanks on the concrete roads sound like a huge sausage machine grinding up sheets of corrugated iron. And when there is a gap between convoys, when the noise dies away, there is another small sound, that of wooden-soled shoes and of small iron tires grating on the concrete. The power moves forward, while the people walk back, pulling their small belongings on anything that has wheels.
An estimated 6 million refugees wander through Europe. Larry Kane in Germany.
Poles, Russians, Ukrainians, Czechs, Frenchmen, Belgians, Dutchmen, Norwegians, women, children, men, old and young, all trekking towards the displaced person centers. They seem happy in a stunned sort of way. Talk about oppression and misery. Christ, we Americans are lucky that we hardly know the meaning of the words.
The Americans and British carry out horrific bombing raids on German cities. Dwight Eisenhower says, "I am always prepared to take part in anything that gives real promise of ending the war quickly." Some criticize the deliberate Allied bombing of civilians. Lieutenant General Ira Eaker, Deputy Air Force Chief, claims such attacks will show the Germans
that we are the barbarians they say we are. For it would be perfectly obvious to them that this is primarily a large-scale attack on civilians, as of course it will be.
General Hap Arnold, commander of the U.S. Army Air Forces and Eaker's superior.
We must not get soft. War must be destructive and to a certain extent inhuman and ruthless.
America and Britain dropped 5 billion pounds of bombs on Europe, killing an estimated 650,000 Germans, predominantly women, children, and old men, in Dresden, Frankfurt, Hamburg, Dusseldorf, Cologne. Because of years of Nazi brutality on the Eastern Front, the Soviets have died in the millions. Wehrmacht soldiers believe the Red Army shoots all German prisoners in revenge, so they eagerly surrender to the Allies instead. Eisenhower expects 3 million POWs. He gets 5 million. Aldegrazia.
The Nazi flag at the moment is any sort of white cloth. Sheets and pillowcases wave in the conquerors of the Third Reich. Hitler is unpopular among civilians now that they're crushed. It took all of this to make them change their minds.
On April the 11th, 1945, the American Third Army arrives at a place called Buchenwald. First Lieutenant James Carroll Jordan in a letter to his wife.
The camp has been liberated only 2 days. We saw a German monument that stated 51,600 died in this camp in 3 years. They were proud of it.
On orders of American command, residents of the nearby town of Weimar are brought to Buchenwald and led through the camp. Margaret Burke-White, reporting in Life.
Women fainted. Men covered their faces and turned their heads away. When the civilians cried out, "We didn't know," the liberated prisoners were beside themselves with fury. "You knew," they screamed.
Edward R. Murrow.
Murder had been done at Buchenwald. God alone knows how many men and boys have died there during the last 12 years. Thursday, I was told that there were more than 20,000 in the camp. There had been as many as 60,000. Where are they now? I have reported what I saw and heard, but only part of it. For most of it, I have no words.
Next hour, intimate eyewitness accounts and rare color footage sheds light on Truman's decision to use the atom bomb to end the Second World War. Next hour on History Television.
Tomorrow, at the 4th hour, the vassal has come to the city, young Caesar Octavian, to engage with the renegade Mark Antony. Eulogies will be delivered, promising dominion of all Rome. Salvation is at hand. All eligible citizens may attend.
Give your fabrics a light citrus twist. New Bounce with Febreze citrus and light scent. Go to bounce.ca to add some bounce to your day.
You've put a lot of work into making your house a home. Wouldn't it be nice to put your home to work for you?
Wouldn't it be nice? If you're 60 or older, a CHIP home income plan can help you turn up to 40% of the value in your home into tax-free cash without having to sell and move. There are no payments required, and you maintain control and ownership of your home. Call now for your free Wouldn't It Be Nice guide and find out if a CHIP home income plan is right for you. Wouldn't it be nice to invest and enjoy a little extra income? Update your home? Or help your grandchildren? Call CHIP now to unlock up to 40% of the value in your home and never make a payment until you choose to move or sell.
For your free guide, call 1-866-311-CHIP. That's 1-866-311-2447. Or visit us at chip.ca.
Enjoy life on your terms with a CHIP home income plan.
Oh my God, how long has it been? Honey, it's my old buddy David. We went to high school together. Honey, this is,
Has this ever happened to you? By completing just a few fun and challenging exercises, you can keep your memory fit and flex your mental muscles. Stay sharp with Brain Age. Train your brain in minutes a day. Available only on Nintendo DS. Rated E for everyone.
Who's counting on your brakes today? Come to Midas, where lifetime guaranteed brake pads or shoes are just $49 per axle. Installation extra. Be safe.
Trust the Midas touch.
Now you can look like you spent 7 days on vacation while you fight 7 signs of aging with new Olay Total Effects Touch of Sun, an anti-aging moisturizer and a touch of sunless tanner. Fighting the look of aging just got sunnier.
The following program contains scenes of violence, coarse language, and mature subject matter. Viewer discretion is advised.
Murrow visits Buchenwald, April the 12th, the day President Franklin Roosevelt dies in the United States. Memorial services are held in the cities of the Allies, from the Paris newspaper Le Monde.
The great voice which directed American political destinies has been hushed, but its echo continues in French souls. Let us weep for this man.
Red Cross worker Rosie Norwalk writes home from London.
The really surprising thing is how deeply the British have reacted. They are so damn self-assured and unemotional that their open displays of feelings amazes me.
Two weeks later, American troops open the gates of Dachau. Like Buchenwald, a concentration camp for political and military prisoners, not a killing center like Auschwitz or Treblinka, but a deadly place for thousands nonetheless. Among the Americans entering Dachau is Rabbi David Max Eichhorn, who conducts the camp's first Sabbath service, chanting a prayer for the dead.
El Mole Rachamim, Shochein Bamromim, Hamse Menucha Nechona Tachas Kanfei Hashchina. A day of celebration shall this be for you, a day when every man shall return to his family and to his rightful place in society. Today I come to you in a dual capacity, as a soldier in the American Army and as a representative of the Jewish community of America. As an American soldier, I say to you that we are proud, very proud, to be here, to know that we have had a share in the destruction of the most cruel tyranny of all time.
The service ends with a choir of just liberated Hungarian Jewish women singing a song Rabbi Eichhorn has just taught them. Martha Gellhorn.
We are not entirely guiltless, we the Allies, because it took us 12 years to open the gates of Dachau. We were blind and unbelieving and slow, and that can never be again. And if ever again we tolerate such cruelty, we have no right to peace.
In late April, on the Elbe River near the German town of Torgau, Allied troops finally meet up with the Russians, and 2 days later meet again for the world's press. They are only 70 miles from Berlin, and the mood is festive. Ed Cunningham, reporting for Yank magazine.
A Russian major set the tone with a toast. Today, he said, we have the most happy day of our lives. Just now, our great friends and we have met one another, and it is the end of our enemy. Long live our great countries.
The Allies agree that post-war Germany will be divided into 4 occupation zones, with Berlin in the Soviet sector. So the British stop at the Baltic, the Americans at the Elbe, and the Russians get to take Berlin. General Patton and British Field Marshal Montgomery, who have been racing for Berlin for months, are furious, but not the troops. Private First Class Ned Davis.
I say let Russia occupy Germany. It may sound quite barbarous to most of us, but I think total demolition of the Nazis should be carried through. The Russians would do this.
Hitler commits suicide April 30th. 200,000 Russians died taking Berlin. Virginia Irwin is the first Western correspondent into the city.
The Russians were happy, with an almost indescribably wild joy. They were in Berlin. In this German capital lies their true revenge for Leningrad and Stalingrad, for Sevastopol and Moscow. And the Russians are having their revenge.
Although Stalin's own people are starving, for political reasons he feeds the Berliners. But at the same time, thousands of Berlin women are raped by Red Army soldiers. Swiss journalist Max Schnetzer.
One woman died from being misused by the soldiers.
In other houses, the Russians acted more like friends. They are like a hailstorm that only destroys part of the harvest.
The people of Europe have endured unprecedented destruction. Now, at last, it is over. President Harry Truman, May the 8th, 1945.
The Allied armies, through sacrifice and devotion, have wrung from Germany a final and unconditional surrender. The Western world has been freed of the evil forces which for 5 years and longer have imprisoned the bodies and broken the lives of millions upon millions of free-born men.
Edith Sokol, Cleveland, Ohio.
VE Day, officially today. Same old day, same old routine, same old nightly letter when I should be kissing you in order to celebrate. I adore you, my darling. You are my world. There is no one like you.
Edna Gladstone, New York City.
Whether these celebrated days mean that I'll see you in a few weeks, months, or years, you will find when you do come home that this is the woman who will love you all her life.
First Lieutenant Bill Preston with the Third Army in Germany.
We heard that there were wild celebrations in the streets of London, but the frontline troops didn't celebrate. Most of the men merely read the story of victory from the division bulletin, said something like, "I'm glad," and walked away. They were too tired, or thinking of home too much, or thinking of their buddies who didn't live to see the victory.
Florence Webb, Gas City, Indiana.
My only fear now is that you'll be sent to the Pacific. I'm counting so much on your getting home.
30 million people, 2/3 of them civilians, die in the European war. Those who survive are changed forever. They go home as different people. 2 different people.
We will never be the naive innocents we were, none of us.
Army nurse Marjorie LaPalme.
Perhaps most of all, I will remember the quiet courage of common, ordinary people.
Flyer Quentin Annenson.
I fought and killed not only because it's my job, but also because my hope for happiness lies beyond this horror. I've gambled my life so that my sons won't have to go through the same thing.
An unnamed American soldier.
I am being sent home. Going back to the United States is not the shining goal it might seem, as long as it's still being blurred by the blood of Americans dying for freedom on foreign soil.
The following program contains scenes of violence, coarse language, and mature subject matter. Viewer discretion is advised.
From polar ice to tropical heat, the war in the Pacific would be fought across a third of the globe. 1943, Adak, one of America's Aleutian Islands off the coast of Alaska, 18 months after the attack on Pearl Harbor. From their base on Adak, American liberators and flying fortresses make regular bombing missions to the Japanese-held island of Kiska. Some American strategists hope to use the Aleutians as a stepping stone to Japan. But the year-round storms and fog frustrate military operations. Total victory over Japan is sought elsewhere. American forces will have to fight their way across the many islands of the Central Pacific before they can invade the Japanese mainland. The price will be high. The Central Pacific, 3,500 miles southwest of the Aleutians, November 1943. 5,000 American Marines are ready to invade the small atolls of Tarawa. Tarawa is a target because it has a strategic airstrip. Major General Julian C. Smith.
You will quickly overrun the Japanese forces. You will decisively defeat and destroy the treacherous enemies of our country. Your success will add new laurels to the glorious traditions of our Corps. Good luck, and God bless you all.
After the final mass prior to the invasion, Chaplain Frank Kelly has a request from the Marine who will lead the operation, Colonel Dave Shoup from Battleground, Indiana.
Padre, I want you to pray for me. I want you to pray that I don't make any mistakes on that beach. No wrong decisions that'll cost any of these boys an arm or a leg, much less a life. I want you to pray for that, Padre.
£7 million of explosives are dropped on the island before the attack. Robert Sherrod of Time magazine is with the men waiting to go ashore.
They jested with one another. "How many are you going to kill, Bunky?" one of them shouted to a bespectacled Marine. "All I can get," said Bunky, without smiling. "Oh boy," said a kid, well under 20. "I just want to spit in a dead Jap's face. Just open his mouth and let him have it."
Marine Private N.M. Baird, an Oneida Indian, lands in the first wave.
The enemy fire was awful, damn intense and getting worse. The water was only about 3 feet deep, just covering the coral reefs. Bullets ricocheted off the coral. It must have been one of these bullets that got the driver. The boat lurched, and I looked up in the cab and saw him slumped over, dead. My assistant, a private with a Mexican name, had his pack and helmet blown right off. He was crumpled up beside me with his head forward, and in the back of it was a hole I could put my fist in.
The generals promised the Tarawa Marines a quick and decisive victory, but days of bombardment failed to destroy Japanese emplacements. Communications and command systems were faulty. Most importantly, the dangers of the shallow reefs around the island had been ignored at the cost of many lives. Robert Sherrod.
On Tarawa, we learned what our best weapons were, what weapons needed improving, what tactics could be best applied to other operations. The same blind refusal to learn, which had characterized many of our operations earlier, had almost disappeared.
The 5,000 Marines faced a 5,000-strong Japanese garrison. Only 17 Japanese and 129 Korean laborers survived. But it had been no easy victory. The capture of a tiny airstrip cost the lives of 762 American Marines and wounded more than 2,000. Robert Sherrod.
10 Marines were killed on the barbed wire on the Coral Flats. One of them was evidently shot as he placed his foot on the top rung of the wire. His trouser leg was caught on the barb, and the leg still hangs in the air. We passed down on the sea wall rather quickly because it is impossible to look at such a sight and realize its implication without tears.
At home in America, cheerful appeals to save waste and buy war bonds are a success.
Buy a bond, and by, the bonds you buy'll bring you victory.
10-year-old Joan Dooley from Wichita, Kansas, writes to General MacArthur, the Army chief in the Pacific.
I suppose you would like to know what we at home are doing. My mother saves grease for bullets. I also buy a war stamp every time I get a quarter. We save paper and all kinds of metal. I have a bicycle, but I don't very often ride it to save rubber tires.
This is no time to say you've done enough. This is the time to really do your stuff. And even if you can't be a soldier in the ranks, you can be the guy to help supply the guns and planes and tanks. This is the time for you to do your best.
More than half the American population invests in war bonds.
The enemy is reeling and his morale is low. So now's the time to fall in line and deal the final blow. Bye, bye, bye.
Victories in Guadalcanal and neighboring islands proved that the Americans can defeat the Japanese, but with heavy casualties. Navy psychiatrist Theodore Litz describes his patients from Guadalcanal.
Bedraggled and emaciated youths with frozen expressions on their aged faces and a far-off stare in their eyes. A sudden noise would bring the entire ward to their feet, prepared to dash for a slit trench. Killing, grousing, self-protection, shouting, cursing, waiting for death, distrust of the night, abandonment of hope had become ingrained.
The president's wife, Eleanor Roosevelt, tours a military cemetery on Guadalcanal and visits patients wounded in action. Despite the psychological casualties experienced in World War I, the military is unprepared for the number of mentally wounded. Nearly half of all American troops discharged for medical reasons during the war are released because of psychiatric problems, the largest number of them from the Pacific. The D-Day landings in Normandy on June the 6th, 1944, lift everyone's hopes.
A landing was made this morning on the coast of France by troops of the Allied Expeditionary Force.
Just 9 days later, 127,000 Americans are ready for action in the Pacific. The target, Saipan Island. Its capture will put Tokyo within range of the new B-29 bombers. Captain Orville Lamott.
The decks were literally covered with groups of men intently studying maps, memorizing orders, cleaning rifles, machine guns, and mortars.
The invasion is scheduled for June the 15th. Two weeks later, Marine Maury Kranzberg writes home.
4th July, 1944. Dear Jack and Mickey, I am on Saipan Island in the Marianas and have been here since D-Day, June 15th. It has been mighty rugged, and I don't mind admitting that I never thought I would live to tell the tale. It was a most terrible experience. I guess I've never hugged good Mother Earth more in all my life. You shake and sweat and worry. I was praying to God to take care of me, and I was also thinking, what a hell of a way and a hell of a place to die. I'd come out all this way to this godforsaken island of Saipan just to die. And the irony of it, I hadn't even seen the enemy.
Captain Orville Lamott.
Bloody dirt-covered men,
clothes torn and ripped. Some sitting on stretchers, their faces showing intense pain. Rough and weather-beaten hands quickly stretched out to those that could walk and to carry those on stretchers. No mother carries her firstborn more tenderly than those rough and ready Marines carried their wounded.
The Japanese casualties are far greater than the American. The Japanese commander, General Saito, to his troops, July the 6th, 1944.
Whether we attack or whether we stay, there is only death. In death, there is life. I pray with you for the eternal life of the Emperor and the welfare of the country, and I advance to seek out the enemy.
General Saito committed suicide before the Japanese attacked the following day. It marked the end of the fighting on Saipan. Japanese atrocities, especially towards prisoners of war, have turned long-standing racial prejudice into hatred and contempt for an enemy derided as the Nips. American troops had secured Saipan. The cost in lives, American, more than 3,000. Japanese, 30,000. Maury Kransberg.
It was pretty hard to realize that there are people going to operas and shows back in St. Louis, while there are millions all over the world like us. Men had gone bravely forward while millions at home sat back comfortably by their radio and remarked smugly that those Marines had taken another island in the Pacific.
Orville Lamotte.
If the people working back in the States could go through some of these operations, there would be no more labor strikes, no need to urge them to buy war bonds. Have no fear for me. I have become an expert in ducking and diving and digging. Keep your chin up and keep smiling. Love, Orville.
Over 60 years ago, we began to work with Ferrari. What we've learned from our shared passion on the track, we've put on the road. Shell V-Power, Ferrari fuel for the road.
RBC has Canada's largest ATM network. But sometimes getting to one just isn't possible. That's why the new RBC Signature No Limit Banking Account waives the RBC portion of the fee on 3 transactions a month at non-RBC ATMs. Switch and we'll welcome you with a $150 gift card.
Haul in, gentlemen. Lunch is over. We're going back to training. Back to daggone A stain, Vaughn? A ketchup stain? How dare you disrespect me, your country, and your mama? I guess the guy just wants to bring his lunch with him. Vaughn wants to be a French fry. Do you have something to say about the stain, Vaughn? Sir! What stain, sir? Vaughn, that! Oh, what'd they do? Send me a daggone Houdini?
Tide to go. It's Tide to the rescue.
Everybody's talking about it. Chevrolet's
chart busting.
chance of a lifetime, bigger than life, bigger than life.
Bigger than wife, bigger than life.
Life.
That's good. Super incredible.
One more time.
Do that again.
We're just gonna call it Chevrolet's huge clearance event.
Okay, here we go.
Discover some of the best vehicles in the industry backed by the best coverage in Canada. Now with 0% purchase financing on most 2007 models. Get the best deals of the season during Chevrolet's huge clearance event. Hurry into your Chevrolet dealer today.
Does your dandruff and oily hair make you want to disappear?
Try Head & Shoulders Citrus Breeze. It fights dandruff, and its formula with citrus essences helps remove excess oil and grease. It leaves your hair beautiful, light, and free of visible flakes. Make your confidence reappear with Head & Shoulders Citrus Breeze.
These may look like just any pair of glasses, but these aren't just any lenses. They're Pearl Thin Easy View lenses, a new kind of progressive lens from Pearl Vision. Advanced digital technology makes these lenses more comfortable. They widen your field of vision and allow you to transition seamlessly from distance to intermediate to reading, so you can focus more naturally. New Pearl Thin Easy View lenses are just another way Pearl Vision can help you see more.
The following program contains scenes of violence, coarse language, and mature subject matter. Viewer discretion is advised.
After Saipan, the Marines moved next to the neighboring island of Tinian. Major James Donovan.
Tinian, August 5th. Dear Mother and Dad, the last few days of combat here were rough. The soldiers and civilians alike have committed suicide, jumped into the sea, blown each other up.
On Tinian and Saipan, Japanese troops urged terrified civilians to kill themselves rather than surrender. But there are survivors, most of them in a pitiful condition. Lieutenant General James L. Underhill.
The state of these people was indescribable. They came with no possessions except the rags on their backs. Hundreds of them were wounded, and some of their wounds were gangrenous. Beriberi, syphilis, pneumonia, dysentery, and tuberculosis were common. They needed shelter, food, water, clothing.
Maury Kransberg.
Dear Mother, feeling fine and hope this finds you the same. Yesterday, some of the boys found a Jap phonograph and some records in Tinian Town. Last night, we listened to Scheherazade, Beethoven's Fifth, and some Strauss waltzes. It's too bad the world can't live in peace so people could travel and learn from each other and exchange culture, music, art, and learning with each other. No more news. Love, Maury.
By the summer of 1944, America is enjoying unprecedented prosperity. President Roosevelt, much to the surprise of those closest to him, announces that he will run for a fourth term, stating that he has as little right to withdraw as the soldier has to leave his post on the line. The future existence of the nation and the future existence of our chosen form of government are at stake. In July, Guam, the largest of the Marianas Islands, is retaken from the Japanese. A Marine private to his 18-year-old brother in Europe.
Dear Sarge, I personally took care to see that a few of Tojo's sons will never see the rising sun again. All in all, Don, this gang's ripped the hell out of the Nips. We can and will beat them anytime, anywhere. They are like animals, not humans, and unfortunately one Yank's life lost is not really worth 10,000 of the bastards. Such is war, eh?
Marjorie Kilpack from Utah, writing to her Marine in the Pacific.
My dear husband, gee, that was such a wonderful 3 months. Do you remember the broken bed at Mrs. Royan's and how damn squeaky it was? Also the bed we broke at Mrs. Kelly's in Quantico. Gee, we've sure left a trail of broken beds behind us. Well, dear, my life goes on, Busily, but certainly my days are not complete, for you are gone. I'm only half here without you, my dear, and love you more than life itself. Good night, sweetness. Yours, Marjorie.
By 1945, Roosevelt presides over a transformed military machine. In 4 years, the U.S. Navy alone has grown from fewer than 800 active ships to almost 7,000. The Navy's sinking of more than 100 Japanese ships off Leyte Gulf in the Philippines has severely weakened the Imperial fleet. Off the coast of Iwo Jima, February 1945. Lieutenant George Rademacher aboard the USS Vicksburg.
Prior to the landings, the combatant ships hit the island with everything they had. We fired so fast that the barrels were glowing.
Robert Sherrod is back in the Pacific.
The island had been bombed for 74 straight days. For 3 days prior to D-Day, many cruisers, battleships, and destroyers poured more than 8,000 tons of high explosives on the 8 square miles of Iwo Jima. To a British observer aboard our transport, it seemed that nothing could possibly be alive.
110,000 men, the largest force of U.S. Marines ever assembled under one command, moves in. Private First Class Bill Madden from La Paz, Indiana, is with the first wave. He writes home to his father.
I know it sounds like nothing could be living there, but we found them still waiting in their emplacements and ready when we arrived. The Nips pattern shelled the beach with mortars, cross-fired it with pillboxes, blockhouse, and heavy machine guns. They had the beach mined too, and I saw plenty of Marines die before they got over the first bank.
For months, the Japanese had prepared for the American invasion. The island's gray volcanic ash was ideal for creating concrete caves, tunnels, and pillboxes. Private Bill Madden.
After the first bank of sand, there were 2 more and just as well defended. I got my first nip on the second bank. He raised up to throw another grenade, and I shot him in the neck with an armor-piercing shell. You can imagine what was left of him.
The Japanese, despite this incessant bombardment of their island, still have guns and mortars trained on that beach. When the Japs get dug into positions like that, it's almost impossible to get them out.
By nightfall, 35,000 Americans have landed. The island's peak, Mount Suribachi, is taken in 3 days. Johnny Annis to his family in California.
When we saw Old Glory waving on top of Mount Suribachi, it was a grand sight and something to inspire a guy to keep on fighting until that same flag flies over Tokyo.
The news reports and pictures give the impression that the worst is over. It isn't.
And this battle for Iwo Jima is turning out to be a very rugged battle.
The battles rage for another 29 days. Hill 382, the Meat Grinder, Turkey Knob, Death Valley. Confrontations that have no equal in the history of the United States Marine Corps. Private Bill Madden.
Dad, a friend here at the hospital is going to the States tomorrow and says he will take this letter and mail it there. It'll miss the censor so I can tell you about my company. Out of 252 officers and men, only 12 men came through the campaign without being killed and wounded. It was awful to watch steel crash into human flesh and rip it apart. I saw a lot of good men die, and I never want to see it again. Our outfit was machine gunned by our LVTs, hit by our own mortars, bombed by our rockets, shelled by our naval gunboats. I don't know who killed the most Marines, the Japs or the men behind us.
The parents of one Marine writing to their son's chaplain.
Did he die quick, with a rifle bullet, or was he blown all to hell with a mortar, or torn up by shrapnel? Did he last long enough to see the flag go up on Suribachi? We spent 18 years raising this boy. And it took 18 months for the Marines to finish the job. And we have an engraved certificate to show that he died for liberty. You will have to admit that it is a damn sorry swap.
The island becomes an emergency landing strip for damaged bombers and a base for fighter aircraft.
We're standing now on the beach at Iwo Jima where...
6,821 Marines are killed taking Iwo Jima. 20,000 are wounded.
Sergeant Bill Ross, a United States Marine Corps combat correspondent, returning you now to the United States.
Coming to DVD and Blu-ray.
We need to get away.
Road trip? Take the ultimate road trip and experience life at full throttle.
Oh, damn!
Wild Hogs. Own it on DVD and Blu-ray high def Tuesday, August 14th.
If through dryness your heels become rough, hard, and cracked, then Flexitol Heel Balm can give you smooth, supple heels like this. Flexitol Heel Balm. Always read and follow the label.
Embarrassed by perspiration? Try Perspirex Sweat and Smell Solution. Perspirex is a patented sweat and odor barrier you only need to apply twice a week. Perspirex Sweat and Smell Solution.
Drink coffee? Look how it stains your teeth. You need Plus White Coffee Drinkers Toothpaste to whiten away coffee stains fast. Plus White Coffee Drinkers Toothpaste.
Oh my God, how long has it been? Honey, it's my old buddy David. We went to high school together. Honey, this is,
Has this ever happened to you? By completing just a few fun and challenging exercises, you can keep your memory fit and flex your mental muscles. Stay sharp with Brain Age. Train your brain in minutes a day. Available only on Nintendo DS. Rated E for everyone.
When refining the Saturn Vue, we made the handling more European. Finished every detail with more style. And all this without compromising safety or fuel efficiency. You could say we redefine refinement from every angle. Introducing the completely redesigned 2008 Saturn Vue, the latest breakthrough from Saturn.
There are delicious new meals and soups in the deli section of your grocery store. New Maple Leaf Simply Fresh. They're refrigerated, never frozen, so they taste great. Each pack has the Heart and Stroke Foundation's Health Check symbol, meeting their fat and sodium standards for healthy eating. The single-serve sizes are so convenient. Delicious entrees or soups, microwave ready in under 3 minutes. Maple Leaf Simply Fresh refrigerated entrees and soups. Find them in the deli today. Brand Power, helping you buy better.
Not one to be outshined? Aussie's new Sun-Touched Shine Spray quenches dry, lackluster hair, infusing it with moisture for dazzling radiance. Stunning shine, so you'll always get points. For style.
Sun get in your eyes?
Aussie's Sun-Touched Shine collection. Add some roux to your two.
The following program contains scenes of violence, coarse language, and mature subject matter. Viewer discretion is advised.
The American Army under General MacArthur is forcing the Japanese from the Philippines. Civilians suffer most. 100,000 of them die in the carnage. Faye Louise Anderson, an American Red Cross worker.
The Filipinos really suffered, and I'm amazed at the way they are able to take it all. Their city in ruins, half-starved, their families killed and tortured in front of their eyes.
The Japanese troops are driven out, but Manila, one of Southeast Asia's largest cities, lies in ruins. Waikiki Beach, Honolulu. New pilots for the aircraft carrier USS Franklin take it easy before practicing their skills at fighting the Japanese. The The USS Franklin is one of more than 50 American aircraft carriers waging war in the Pacific. On March the 19th, the Franklin and its aircraft are just 50 miles off the coast of Japan when an enemy plane drops 2 armor-piercing bombs. Hundreds of men are blown overboard. Hundreds more die in the fire. The crew fights desperately to prevent tons of ammunition from exploding. The ship's chaplain, Joseph O'Callaghan, directs rescue parties and administers the last rites. With the ship listing dangerously, her gunners shoot down a Japanese plane trying to deliver the final blow. At considerable risk to themselves, the light cruiser Santa Fe and the destroyer Hughes give assistance.
We saw a huge column of black smoke rising. It was the Franklin, which had been hit and very seriously damaged. By a miracle of skill and work, she was taken in tow.
Lieutenant Eugene Reed aboard the USS Benham.
We have on board about 80 survivors. Some were a pretty broken down lot after their terrible experience. But the most impressive thing of all was the tremendous joy they would show us, seeing their buddies for the first time, and thus finding out that they had not been lost.
724 men from the Franklin lose their lives. The Franklin, the ship that wouldn't die, limps home under her own power, halfway round the world, back to New York. Thoughts of the homes they left and life as it could be keeps many men going. James Raines aboard the USS Howarth.
Hello, darling sweetheart. A year ago today, I kissed the most beautiful, sweetest, and luscious creature in the world goodbye in San Francisco. I thought about you a lot today, darling baby. Nice thoughts, too. Your sweet body, and the way you press against me in a good, willing hug. Even the thought almost overcomes me. We're going on to Okinawa. Do you know every time I learn about another operation, the first thing I think of is, boy, that's as dangerous as hell. I think about not seeing you again and I break out in a nervous perspiration. Baby darling, I guess you hadn't better let anyone read this one. I wouldn't want people to know you were married to such a silly husband. Damn it, what I'm trying to say is that other people couldn't believe that I would worry more about not getting back to you than actually dying. And I know damn well you do believe it, simply because I said so. God bless you, darling. I adore you, Poppy.
Captain B.E. Woods, message to all hands, March the 31st, 1945.
The target is Okinawa, with a population of about 500,000 people. Determined resistance may be expected, but the outcome of the attack cannot be in doubt.
James Raines to his wife.
Darling, I just think of every turn in the screws taking us closer to Tokyo, you know? Every time we get further from home, the nearer home we get, understand? Yep, I knew you would. Night, baby darling. I adore you. God bless you.
America's favorite war correspondent, Ernie Pyle, is with the landing force.
We had all expected to go onto the beach in a hailstorm of tracer bullets, artillery shells whistling in the water near to us, and yet we couldn't see a bit of firing ahead. The carnage that is almost inevitable on an invasion was wonderfully and beautifully not there.
Days later, Pyle will be killed by a sniper's bullet. As the Americans land, 97,000 Japanese troops are waiting. At sea, the Navy faces what the Japanese call a divine wind, kamikaze. Executive Officers Memorandum 9445.
As a measure of desperate defense against our growing power, the enemy has resorted to the reckless use of planes, boats, and swimmers without regard for the lives of pilots or other men employed. Suicide planes on their one-way trips are intended to crash with a full load of fuel and explosives into the bridge structure or any available spot. Damage from flaming gasoline and explosion is calculated to destroy or immobilize the ship.
April 6th, James Raines to his wife.
Good morning, Mommy. Just a line. I have to hurry and eat, then go on watch. Remember that I love you with everything I've got. Bye, darling. More later, Poppy.
That evening, James Raines' ship is one of those hit by a kamikaze plane.
Dear Mrs. Raines, I feel as if it is my duty to let you know I was one of the men that was in the water with James. I'm sorry to say that James passed away in my arms, that I stayed with him until the very last. I'm going home on leave for a period of 25 days. You may get in touch with me at 720 East 2nd Street, Hastings, Nebraska. Respectfully yours, Russell A. Bramble.
Tomorrow, at the 4th hour, the battle has come to the city. Young Caesar Octavian to engage with the renegade Mark Antony. Eulogies will be delivered, promising dominion of all Rome. Salvation is at hand. All eligible citizens may attend.
Give your fabrics a light citrus twist. New Bounce with Febreze citrus and light scent. Go to bounce.ca to add some bounce to your day.
You buy a house, turn it into a home, build so many wonderful memories. But now what?
Wouldn't it be nice?
If you're 60 or older, a CHIP home income plan can help you turn up to 40% of the value in your home into tax-free cash without having to sell and move. There are no payments required, and you maintain control and ownership of your home. Call now for your free Wouldn't It Be Nice guide and find out if a CHIP home income plan is right for you.
Wouldn't
it be nice to help your children buy their first home, pay off your debts, or travel more often? Call CHIP now to unlock up to 40% of the value in your home and never make a payment until you choose to move or sell.
For your free guide, call 1-866-360-CHIP. That's 1-866-360-2447. Or visit us at chip.ca.
It's time to call the CHIP Home Income Plan and enjoy life on your terms.
Seeking an answer to life's muscle and joint pain? No Odor Rub A535 for deep, penetrating relief that lasts and lasts. Get back to life. No Odor Rub A535.
Who's counting on your brakes today? Come to Midas, where lifetime guaranteed brake pads or shoes are just $49 per axle. Installation extra. Be safe.
Trust the Midas touch.
There are delicious new meals and soups in the deli section of your grocery store. New Maple Leaf Simply Fresh. They're refrigerated, never frozen, so they taste great. Each pack has the Heart and Stroke Foundation's health check symbol, meeting their fat and sodium standards for healthy eating. The meal kits and multi-serve soups are great for busy lifestyles. They're microwave ready in less than 8 minutes. Maple Leaf Simply Fresh refrigerated meal kits and soups. Find them in the deli today. Brand Power, helping you buy better.
Log on to historytelevision.ca today. The following program contains scenes of violence, coarse language, and mature subject matter. Viewer discretion is advised.
On April the 12th, 1945, a stunned America hears of President Roosevelt's death.
Mr. Roosevelt, it is said, died of a massive cerebral hemorrhage.
I sat beside my radio for hours on end, listening and grieving.
You always felt that he never missed looking directly at you. That was part of his charm.
Well, he's gone, and never again will we turn on our radios in our small homes all over this big land and hear Roosevelt's mellow voice greet us as fellow Americans.
My fellow Americans.
Take us into his confidence and reassure us that there's nothing to fear but fear.
Last night, when I spoke with you,
he laid the framework for victory in battle and for victory in peace.
And so the President of the United States has passed.
The new president, Harry S. Truman.
America will continue the fight for freedom until no vestige of resistance remains.
In the engagements to secure the island and flush out snipers, 1/3 of America's Okinawan invasion force is wounded or killed. "18-year-old Marine William Niada.
Dear Mom and Dad, we should have this island secure in about a week and a half or two. I lost Pete Martin with Patterson and most of my buddies about a week ago, but you make new ones. Guess people over there are celebrating VE Day of Germany. That's good news, but my war's over here.
With no surrender, caves and fortifications are blasted with dynamite and napalm. America's industrial might means its troops have more than 4,000 times the supplies available to the Japanese soldiers. Lieutenant General Simon Bolivar Buckner to his wife.
The Okinawan civilians are coming out of their holes. They are a pathetic lot. It is pitiful to see what modern weapons do to civilian communities harboring enemy defenses. But it is necessary to shoot the enemy out of whatever positions they hold.
An official Army report.
The divisions were forced to care for thousands of these Okinawans, many of them sick or wounded. Combat divisions were not at first very sympathetic. To them, the Okinawans were Japanese. This attitude changed as the troops found that the Okinawans in custody were docile and gave no trouble.
On the 75th day of the Battle for Okinawa, Major William Belcher of Indianapolis is killed, clearing out a Japanese cave. He and his wife, Frances, were married in November 1940 and have 2 sons.
Dear Stevie and Dave, this is a letter that I want your mother to save for you until you are older, if perchance I never return. Death is not an easy thing for anyone to understand, but every life shall one day end, and should that day come for me before I can return to live with you, remember that only the body can be taken, and I will still be. I can never be dead, because you are alive. Time and accident, illness and weariness may take my body, but already you have given it back to me, younger and more eager than ever. I don't expect you to understand these things, but I know you will remember this. Nothing good ever ends. If it did, there would be no people in the world, no life at all anywhere. And the world is full of people and full of wonderful life. The sun, the earth, the skies, the rivers, and the oceans are all part of us, and you have come here to enjoy them and thank God for them. You are a part of all that. Steve, you are the eldest and may remember me. Take care of Dave. Help each other and learn to share. Stand out from the crowd and be moderate in all things. I hope that I can share many years yet with you, but if we are denied those pleasures, be good sons of your mother. She loves you and has done far more for you than I. Good luck and live a full life. Your dad.
The Japanese hold out on Okinawa until June the 22nd. 70,000 Japanese troops and 100,000 civilians lose their lives. 12,000 Americans die taking Okinawa and 55,000 are wounded. The military warned President Truman to expect a further 250,000 American casualties if he goes ahead with the planned invasion of Japan. 40% of Japan's most important industrial cities have been destroyed by American bombs. One raid on Tokyo incinerates almost 90,000 people. From the islands so recently captured, Saipan, Tinian, and Guam, up to 600 bombers a mission take off for Japan. From Iwo Jima, Mustang fighter planes support B-29 bombers on their raids. America is master of the air. America and Britain condemned the bombing of civilian areas earlier in the war. By 1945, those concerns are forgotten. Near Berlin, in meetings with Truman and Churchill, Soviet leader Joseph Stalin confirms his promise to join the war against Japan. When Truman tells him that he has a weapon of unusual destructive force, Stalin shows little interest. He already has intelligence about America's atom bomb. From the diary of Harry S. Truman, military objectives, soldiers and sailors are the target, and not women and children. Even if the Japs are savages, ruthless, merciless, and fanatic, we as leader of the world for the common welfare cannot drop this terrible bomb on the old capital or the new. Hiroshima. 100,000 people are killed immediately. President Truman.
Having found the bomb, we have used it. We have used it against those who attack us without warning at Pearl Harbor. We shall continue to use it. Only a Japanese surrender will stop us.
After Hiroshima, Stalin's troops joined the war against Japan. There is still no surrender. August the 9th, Nagasaki. 35,000 immediate deaths. Here and in Hiroshima, thousands more will die from the after effects. The bombs don't change the Japanese High Command's determination to fight on. Only the intervention of the Emperor does that. September the 2nd, 1945, aboard the USS Missouri in Tokyo Bay, General MacArthur is ready to accept Japan's surrender. It will end a world war that has cost 55 million lives. Vice Admiral Charles Lockwood to his wife.
And so the war is over. I'm sure of that. Nothing left but to smash their heavy industries and hang their prison camp commandants. And God, I hope we hang them high. Bye now, darling. Charles.
Let us pray that peace be now restored to the world, and that God will preserve it always.
Doris Winokur from Brooklyn.
My darling sweetheart, I'm drunk with joy and happiness because we're definitely on the path to our utopia and our reunion that we've spent 2 years of our lives waiting for. Darling, if you haven't seen Broadway during the victory celebrations, then you've really missed one of the most thrilling and most unbelievable sights in the world. Soldiers and sailors climbed on the hoods of passing cars, and police and MPs just stood there smiling. A sailor started after me and wouldn't give up even though I ran and ran all over the street and finally took refuge with a cop. But when I asked him to protect me, the cop offered to kiss me too. So unable to help myself any longer, I got kissed. Can you forgive me, sugar? It was a very disturbing experience because I'd forgotten what it's like to be kissed.
Tomorrow, they sacrificed life and limb for king and country. Witness the upheaval of British society during the outbreak of the Second World War. Tomorrow on History Television.